Jalen West, we've got a couple super chats I will get to, but they don't involve questions. So we will get to Jalen West's question just flat out about Avantae Williams and where he should be on the field.
That's a great question. Longtime friend of mine on Twitter, JP, was talking about finally writing, putting his thoughts out to the world. And I said, hey, come on over to the State of the U, bro. Let's go. It might not be every day like Marsh or, years ago I used to do. I was writing 2 and 3 pieces a day. I don't know that I have that velocity in me anymore. And I don't think that JP is going to be on that velocity either. However, it is a good conversation, I think. And I think that he's got good ideas. And the one this first piece is he asked the question, does Miami have a seniority problem? Of just playing seniors at the expense of more talented prospects or players on the roster. Which I believe to be a good question. And I mean, look, I can curate what goes up on the website. But when JP and I were talking about this in the DMs, I was like, yo, yes, write that, do that, say that. Because I agree that sometimes Miami has not necessarily gone the right way in terms of who they played. I said this every time I came on here about linebacker last year. And JP wrote that as well, talking about, if we have these athletic guys, why are we not playing? And we needed to upgrade the athleticism of that position. Why then are we not playing these guys and then having an inferior product on the field? Things like that mismatch kind of a thing, at least clearly to my eye at that position. And there's others. And so in there, and JP loves Avantae Williams. And I mean, he's the number 2 safety in America a couple years ago. He's a game changer in the secondary. And I think that eventually, even in this season, you're going to see, like years ago, when Miami was playing substandard players. And again, they're fine people. I'm not saying anything to impugn them as people. I'm talking about their performance on the football field because we're talking about football. So I'm going to be critical of their performance in football. And if you don't like it, tough cookies. But if you're playing A.J. Highsmith and Nantambu Akil-Fentress, when you have NFL players on the roster, Rayshon Jenkins, Deion Bush, and Jamal Carter at the time, and you're playing these other 2 dudes who went pro in something other than sports, and look, that's perfectly fine. Go and do that. But if we're here to win football games, I need you to play the best players. And you have 3 NFL players on the squad at that time, at that position, and made the choice to play other guys. Dallas Crawford, instead, he's not an NFL safety. These other guys, Rayshon Jenkins just got another new contract. But he's sitting on the bench at Miami for guys who are not as good. So I think that you're going to see potentially some of that in the secondary, especially at safety, even this year with Avantae Williams, maybe being behind a guy like Amari Carter. And look, Amari Carter's a 5th-year senior. He's coming back. Yes, he's a great leader. He's a captain of the team. He's was he valedictorian of his high school, Palm Beach Gardens, or very high up there academically, great with community service, all those things. But where we thought his performance was going to be and where it has been is not the same. So now I'm just going to defer to this 5th-year senior as opposed to this guy who's been here for a year. Yeah, he had to battle through his undisclosed medical injury and everything, but he's flying around and things like that, and he has the ability to be a game changer from now. I'm going to need that guy to play. You got Bubba Bolden, who looked like one of the best defensive players, handful in America through the first half of the season, had a couple injuries, his performance tailed off, but 21's going to start at safety. So who are you going to put next to him? You're going to put Tay? You're going to give James Williams some snaps? Cam Kinchins? You know what I mean? Brian Balaam? And he was fighting for snaps, and he's a guy I know who's a lower-ranked guy in terms of your star rankings and everything. But when push came to shove, and we needed guys to take snaps last year as a freshman, he's a guy who did that. You know what I mean? And you got other guys on this roster as well. Gervin Hall has not necessarily lived up to his recruiting profile. Does he take a step forward, or does he get passed up by these other guys as well? But in specific with Avantae Williams, I believe that at a minimum, Avantae Williams should be a staple on all 4 special teams. That's kickoff, return and coverage, punt return and coverage. Number 15 on defense, Avantae Williams, he should be there and starring on all 4 of those specials. Because field goals and extra points, I don't necessarily need them out there because you're only going to have the 9 guys blocking, fine. But the return and coverage units, 15 should be out there and working his way into the base defense rotation. That, for me, is what I see for him. And, okay, it might take him a third or halfway through the season to really start to see some more of those snaps from these veteran players. But, again, I need the best players on the field. And from all reports and everything, Avantae Williams is looking like one of the better players on defense right now in the spring and everything. Then that means that T-Rob and Manny Diaz and everybody on the defensive side of the ball needs to continue to coach this guy up and unlock that amazing ability that made him a top 50 recruit in America, the number 2 safety overall in America, instead of having him on the sideline waiting and watching. Because, again, I don't want that situation where we're playing substandard players while there are NFL caliber guys at that same position sitting on the bench. No, thank you. Play the guys who you should play. And I believe that Avantae Williams is going to prove himself to be one of those guys in addition to his starring role on all 4 specials throughout the course of this season. That's what I think that he should be.
It's hard for me to imagine when the stakes are as high as they are at a major program like Miami that head coaches that make $3 and $4 and $5 million a year, assistant coaches who make now close to $1 million a year that are in that $300,000 to $800,000 range, coordinators especially, would make decisions in favor of seniority instead of putting the best player on the field that is going to ultimately save them their jobs.
I mean, I'm not saying that it's entirely that, but I'm not also going to say that it's not a factor in what happens, especially when they continually say, well, he's a great citizen. He's a great student athlete. He's great in the classroom. He's great in the meeting room. He's done the community service. And look, I went to Miami on a partial academic scholarship. I know that academics matter. You know what I mean? I was a teacher for 15 years. I've done my community service. I continue to do community service. I understand that being a good citizen and all those things matter in life, and that's great. But if I'm not good enough at my job, somebody else is going to have my job to do. Apart from being a studious person and all those things, if I'm not good enough at the congress of my job, then somebody else is going to have that job. So I don't want to hear about those things, and the coaches continue to mention those things, and they play the depth chart games. This guy was great on MAC drills and everything. So, the first day of spring practice, at least not this year, thank God. But last year, you had walk-ons at the top of the depth chart at some positions. Really? At Miami? Get out of here. Get out of here. Get out of here. No, I don't want to hear that. So, I'm not saying that it's entirely the basis of the foundation for the decision. But if the coaches keep saying that it is part of their evaluative metric, then I'm going to trust them at their word that it matters somewhere down the line of their decision-making process.